Blog Talk Radio.
And welcome to another edition of Carnivore Radio. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, along with Dr. Eric Lopkin. And Dr. Lopkin, I think we have a show that really fits the time today, don't we?
We really do. I mean, with everything that's been going on with COVID, health is on top of everybody's mind. And we've got a fantastic guest today, Dr. Elle.
Hey,
Dr. Elle,
hi,
welcome.
everybody.
Welcome to the show, and we may be joined by Sarah Williams as well, which will be just an added treat. But Dr. Elle, I would certainly think you agree with Dr. Lopkin that today, I mean, health has been people's concern or interest in health, and homeopathic remedies has been going on for quite a while. But certainly during this pandemic, I would have to imagine that it's heated up, hasn't it?
It absolutely has. So just so you know, my name is Dr. Elle. I'm actually a doctor of natural medicine. I have a doctorate in traditional naturopathy, a bachelor's in holistic and bariatric nutrition. I'm an advanced energy practitioner, and I am a national wellness speaker for doTERRA essential oils. So
Fantastic. We're so happy to have you on the show.
Well, thank you so very much. I'm happy to be on the call as well. So in regards to your questions, yes, lots of people are very interested in finding some natural ways to assist themselves during these difficult times. Stress is at a very, very high part in people's lives right now. Even if they're not emotionally feeling it, they're being affected by what we like to call electrosmog. So being around your cell phone too much, being in front of the computer too much, being in front of whatever that has electronics is also causing a lot of emotional, physical, and spiritual unrest as well.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because, like I said, I have tinnitus. We talked about that, before you came on the show. Tinnitus is another way of pronouncing it. But a friend of mine who has it as well, and it's pretty rampant, his doctor told him that one of the, because it's rampant now, one of the contributing factors is cell phone use. And you're talking about the whole exposure to electronics and electronic gear, cell phones, been around for 30 years. Can you talk? I mean, people broach the subject. There's things on YouTube, some true, some not so true in terms of demonstrations. But can you talk about the dangers and the health and emotional implications of electronic gear, such as cell phones and computers?
Absolutely. So, like I said before, I'm an advanced energy practitioner, so frequencies and megahertz is one of those things I work with a lot. So first thing I want to let you know is when the body's in pristine health, your megahertz is registered between 63 and 70 megahertz of frequency. If there's anything wrong with you, that megahertz goes down. It's almost like someone's turning off the dimmer switch in the kitchen, the electric light.
Sure.
So we want to make sure we're staying healthy. Now, what happens when we're using electronic devices, and specifically now with 5G coming along, what we know on the science level is that it actually makes your blood thick. Having thick blood is not a good thing. When your blood is too thick...
That's really, as a layperson, how does that happen? I've never even heard that before.
Okay, so what happens is when we're around too much electronics, our body, our cells start to respond, and they start to spin in a different direction. So each cell has a positive and negative frequency on it. Each cell in your body, there's cells in every organ that you have as well, each cell starts to vibrate at a faster rate of speed that is unhealthy for it. And when that happens, it starts to coagulate the blood. Now, when we have more frequency coming into our body where we cannot, deal with it, your body will respond by, danger, danger, Will Rogers. Let's try to protect our cells and our body from this crazy electricity. So your body's just trying to protect itself. So when the blood gets thick, think about that. It's going to mess up your heart. It's going to mess up your lungs. It's going to mess up everything in your body. Now, when you're
interesting
talking
because
about,
just real quick,
yes.
I read a book. I forgot his name. He had a beard, but it was called Natural Cures, and this is 30 years ago. He was talking about like getting away from your, this is before cell phones became pervasive, so to speak. Even getting away from things like your electric alarm clock and things like. He was talking about that 30 years ago. So now it's 20 times that, isn't it?
Correct. It's even asked for. So if you think of like Tesla, right? We all know Tesla. If you ever gone, I don't know where you guys are located,
of course.
but Boston, right? You go to the Science Museum, and you got electricity flowing through the air, and everything is registered in frequency in the universe. Basically, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. So you kind of learned that in high school. What's a rock is a rock, but it has a frequency. Your body has a frequency. That's why we have a heartbeat. We have a personal frequency, almost like your own IP address for your computer.
Sure.
And there's lots of technology that's out there. I actually work with a machine called Healy, which actually can send correct frequency into your body to restore homeostasis within the cells. It's very, very cool information. It's nothing new. It's just been well harnessed right now. So
okay, say that one more time because I think that's very important. So you're saying this can counteract some of the bombardment that we're being exposed to every day?
Yes. So other things that
and what is that again?
It's called a Healy device, and at the end of this conversation, I'm happy to give out some information if people would like to learn more about that.
Oh, certainly.
It's very interesting technology. So I want you to think about if there was something wrong with your car, you would bring to the dealership or to AutoZone, right? Some 20-year-old kid comes out, and what's he do? He puts the little computer into the dash, and lo and behold, here comes a code. So the guy goes back to the store, gets you the part you need. You put it in, car works fine. Or they just clear the code. This technology is able to go into the body and help clear your personal code. So each cell in your body has a specific frequency. And there have been some brilliant people over the past decades that have been able to register each cell in your body. So just like your blood pressure is supposed to be something. Your body temperature, 98.6-ish for most folks. If you have a fever, we have something to take down your fever in the world. You know that. There's usually aspirin, or in my world, in the essential oils, we would put peppermint oil in a carrier oil, so maybe coconut oil, rub it up and down your spine and on your wrists, and that would drop your fever. Right? Those are techniques that we can use. Yeah.
Before I throw it out to Dr. Lopkin, I just have two real quick questions, but I'm sure you can expand upon it. We're all being bombarded by these, electronics everywhere. You go into a store, you go into an office, cameras, everything. So besides making the blood thicker, what other effects, like let's just say, how about the emotional state? Does it have any effect on people's emotions?
It will. So same reason, if I say the word excitation. So if you think about the cell that's inside of you, it starts going really, 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 really fast. Kind of like if your heartbeat was going too fast, it's racing. How do you feel? You feel scared.
You feel anxious.
You feel like crap, right? You feel like crap, right? So what is happening is the same thing is happening to you emotionally. Now, I'm a pretty calm person, but I tell you, if I'm in too much frequency, it actually affects my heart. I know this by a personal experience. I was teaching in Washington, D.C. in Friendship Heights, and I was around a lot of cell towers. Now, normally I live in the woods, so I'd never been exposed to that much frequency at one certain part of time. The frequency in that area was so intense that the people that live there actually have sheep that have grounding devices in them. So tiny little grounding sheets to protect them from the frequency. And so one night I slept on the sheets. I slept very well. The second night I didn't because I was ready to go on my flight very early in the morning, so I basically slept on the couch. My body from 12 p.m., like midnight, to 4 a.m. vibrated. It was like somebody was shaking from me. Almost, let's put it this way. You know when you drink too much and you get the spins? Like that.
Hasn't happened since college, but yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, right. You're a little older now. You're smarting up. But that's kind of what happened. And what happened from there is I flew home. So, again, I'm in frequency again. So a little trick that I've learned is I use peppermint oil before I fly, because peppermint oil has the ability to stop that radiation. Yeah. Because I fly a lot.
Interesting.
Yes.
Dr.
So
Lopkin, any questions? I'm sure you have many.
Yeah, I actually want to take
By the way,
down,
our callers can call in, can't they, Dr. Lopkin?
Yes, they can. If you want to be part of the conversation, you can call us at 563-999-3693. That's 563-999-3693. And I actually want to take this conversation to a little more basic level.
Sure.
We know that the stronger your immune system is, the more you can fight off all of these.
Correct.
The frequencies, COVID, all of this. What
Absolutely.
are some basic steps, holistically, that a person can take to optimize their immune system?
Well, the first thing that I would tell people is eat a good diet, eat a clean diet. And what I've realized and seen over the past few months is, the consumption of alcohol and snacks has gone through the roof for a lot of people. Right? So the problem with, one cocktail now and then is not going to hurt the body. Consistent, too much, it's too much sugar in the system. And sugar is our greatest drug, but it will basically decay the body. So that will drop your immune system immediately. 1 teaspoon of sugar will knock the immune system out for 4 hours. Now, when people think of teaspoons of sugar, they're thinking, sugar in their coffee. So if you look on the back of maybe a Snapple, like iced tea, 4 grams equals 1 teaspoon. And I used to use this theory when go ahead.
I just want to be clear about something here, because I've actually gotten into arguments over this.
Yep.
The fact that someone is using organic sugar does not make this better.
Correct. It's better than regular sugar if you had to make the choice. Organic is always best if you're going to have a sugar. But the body is going to use sugar as fuel. Too much sugar will mess you up. Think of little babies when they drink out of the bottle for too long, when their teeth grow in, right? So their teeth actually rot. The same idea within the body. But again, a little bit of sugar goes a long way. But let's just say if you get on the airplane, right, you're going to go fly someplace. The reason why people get really sick on airplanes is because they drop your immune system before they walk in the door. Most people, especially if you're here in Connecticut, you get to Bradley, what do? You stop at Dunkin' Donuts, you get a coffee, and because no one sees you, you're grabbing a donut, right? So now you've got a whole bunch of sugar, and you get on the plane. And now your body is trying to process that sugar. It's trying to process the radiation. It's trying to process the oxygen and the pressure that the body's being exposed to on the plane. So there's a lot going on there. So I always tell people I use a couple different products, my own, before I get on a plane, one of which is called On Guard. And On Guard has the ability to strengthen the immune system. Now, a lot of people use that emergency, and emergency is vitamin C in a concentrated dose. If your body isn't healthy enough, that vitamin C is not even being absorbed into your body. So keeping your immune system strong is ideal.
And what's the name of that product again?
It's called On Guard Plus, like On Guard, happy to get you some of that as well. We've actually been using that all over the world to really help and support frontline supporters. Either anybody that's been on the front line. We have created wellness boxes and sent them these products. And basically it's a combination of natural products. So it has Wild orange, it has clove in it, which is a very high antioxidant. So when we can create a high antioxidant in the body, the cell has the ability to heal itself and get stronger. So the stronger the immune system, the better off you are.
Doctor, hold that thought. We need to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Sure. Absolutely.
Next Thursday, you will be caught in an extreme flash flood.
Disasters don't plan ahead, but you can. Talk to your loved ones about making an emergency plan. Get started today at ready.gov/plan. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
And we're back. And if you want to be part of the conversation, you can call in at 563-999-3693. That's 563-999-3693.
And we are graced with the presence of Dr. Elle, who is an expert on what we really want to know right now, because people want to naturally build their immune systems, fight. I think this pandemic, you would agree, Dr. Elle, has really gotten people thinking about their own health more than ever, correct?
Yes, correct. Other some things that I tell people is also learning how to breathe properly. A lot of people are holding their breath, and they don't even realize it. So, it sounds so silly, but every day, just take a deep breath, hold it for a minute, and then just fully release it out of your body. Do that a couple times a day. That helps build the lungs. Another little old school trick is to gently take maybe the palm of your hand and tap just below your throat on your chest. Not like a caveman, okay? Don't beat the crap out of yourself. But you tap that, and what that does, yeah, I know. You're picturing it, right?
Yeah.
You're tapping where the thymus is, and that helps to stimulate that part of your body to help build your immune system as well.
Okay. Now, it's also been in the press, and I think Dr. Lopkin would agree, that people, because of the quarantines and the stress of, obviously, their jobs in jeopardy, some have lost their jobs, domestic, maybe more increased turmoil, people have become more susceptible to depression. Two-part question. If you go to a psychiatrist, I would say, or a prescriber, they're going to recommend and prescribe to you antidepressants. First question is, good or bad idea? And number two, what are some of the alternatives to such a endeavor?
Well, for me, because I teach about natural medicine, granted, I know that there is medicine that people really need. If you are under the care of a prescribing doctor and you are on an antidepressant, please stay in contact with that physician to make sure that your levels are monitored. Don't think you can take yourself off your antidepressant medication by yourself, because you will become a hot mess. Right? Just don't do that. For me, when I work with people, again, I work by building their gut, by making sure they're taking the right kind of vitamins, not like, let's take something quick over the counter, because most of those go in and out whole. Yep, in and out whole. You need to have vitamins that are actually going to be absorbed into the gut so that your body has the ability to make some serotonin. Now, if your stomach is off, we have to work with that as well. So there's a lot that comes with that. But to answer your question, there are tons of free devices of, let's just say on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and watch any meditation. That is a good way to help yourself. Another one, as we talked about frequency, there's a frequency called 528 megahertz. Go to any one of those on YouTube. They're free. That will help put you in a positive mood and help you start to feel better, because your body will feel that frequency as, oh, that feels nice, warm, fuzzy. So that's another way. Other things that will help people out of depression, like go outside, take a walk. Like you had asked me before, like how do you get away from the cell phone frequency? Go outside, take your shoes off, step on the grass. Because the earth itself is grounded. So your body will disperse all that static energy that you're holding within yourself that's making you feel kind of nutty, and it will like disperse it into the ground, and you'll just feel better. So get outside, take a big breath, walk in the grass. Another little trick is, like right now, it's a little breezy outside, and I, like I said, live in the woods where there's some pretty tall pine trees. But if you just even watch the trees sway and you find yourself moving with how the swaying of the tree goes, automatically your body will calm down. So it's just kind of a little cool trick with nature. Watch what nature does, and it will help you heal. On another
Dr.
way of
Lopkin?
stress... Yep.
Dr. Lopkin.
Actually, I'd like to go back to something you were saying about working with your gut.
Yes.
There's been a lot in the scientific press about having the right kinds of bacteria in your gut and making sure you have the correct balance. Can you talk a little bit about that for our listeners that aren't familiar with that and the benefits of the probiotics to help that?
Sure. So in your intestines, there is positive, we call it flora, and then there's some negative stuff in there. So in order to have healthy gut bacteria, and that basically means you're going to be a good pooper, okay, there's a few things. So probiotics are exceptional to help create positive flora inside of the gut. And that just makes your immune system stronger as well. So there are some probiotics that are better than others. You can get some, like if you go to Whole Foods, there's some in the refrigerator, area. I work with a great probiotic that's actually double encapsulated. It's a prebiotic and a probiotic. And what that means is the prebiotic feeds the probiotic as it's traveling through your body, through your stomach, into your intestines. So it just doesn't get eaten up in your stomach. Those probiotics are huge for keeping the immune system strong. It's just one of those other components that help the body become well. There are some natural ways for probiotics where, if you know what kombucha is, it's a drink that's kind of like a fizzy bubbler. It's made out of mushrooms, but it doesn't taste like mushrooms. You can get those in most grocery stores now. Another way, old school, eat some sauerkraut. Rinse it out of the pan. Sauerkraut, yep. There's another way to create a positive probiotic in the body. So that's like those little easy school ways that you can do it. As you were talking before about stress, cheats, take a lemon and smell a lemon. Anytime any citrus blends work with that part of our brains that make us feel happy. So as you're breathing in that lemon, it's going up through your nose to pass where, like if you were to have the sunglasses on, you know where it hits right on that spot in your nose? That's your olfactory nerve. And that brings the smell up into your brain. We've all can imagine, if you've never had it, what anesthesia looks like. You've seen it on TV. They put the mask on your face. You breathe in this gas. You go sleepy now, right? In the same way that gas goes into the brain, it relaxes the part of the brain that says, okay, go to sleep. It's okay. Lemon or orange or lime, you'll smell it, and it will go to the part of the brain that goes, ooh, I'm wicked happy now. It'll make you happy. If maybe you're stressed out, an essence that calms people is lavender. Right? So those can be another calming thing that you can find in nature. Like even if we grow lavender outside, just smell it. It's old school medicine. The company that I work with.
I do want to interrupt with one thing. Before any of our listeners use lavender oil, please make sure you are aware of your allergies. Lavender is one of the most common allergies. So if you have that allergy, using lavender oil is going to have some very negative effects. I've seen this happen.
Correct. So like I said, always check on what your sensitivities are. There are other things that you could use. A chamomile tea is also a relaxant. There are some other things that are out there that make people feel relaxed. A massage. Take a bath with Epsom salts. These are some natural ways that you can relax yourself. Any other questions?
Well, yes, that's really good. So in terms of how about maintaining a healthy body, some of the don'ts. I mean, some of the things. I had a guest on, Dr. Barry Sears, a while ago, and I said if smoking a cigarettes are number 10 in terms of bad for your health. What is the American diet? And he said it's a 15. Would you comment on that? I mean, the average American, how is their diet contributing to their either emotional or physical lack of well-being?
Oh, diet is 100%, where you have control of what goes in your body. And there are so many pesticides in foods, and I am very well versed with what do you eat for your blood type. And I've actually studied with Dr. Diodamo, who had created that, and he's actually out of Connecticut, at Wilton, Connecticut, brilliant scientist. So I know that there are specific foods that are very not in harmony with my body. And we have a lot of people who are lactose intolerant, or wheat problems, or gluten problems. And what a lot of it is they're just sensitive to the actual plant of what it is, just like you were saying about the lavender. You know, so what I say for people's diet is they eat too many processed foods. They're not looking at what's in their well-being for portion size. They're not exercising. They're drinking sodas that are full of sugars and caramel colors. When I speak to people of nutrition, I basically say if you turn over a can or a soda or whatever you're looking at, maybe something in a grocery store, if there are products inside of that description of the ingredients that you can't read or understand, your body doesn't understand what it is either. Choose foods that you recognize, things that don't have a barcode on them. Like you understand an apple, you understand a salad. You know, if you're going to eat bread, have a whole grain bread. You know, don't be eating Wonder Bread anymore, and I'm sorry for people that love Wonder Bread. But, you know, choose foods that are closest to nature because your body will be able to process it, and thus you'll be healthier because of it. You know, we always joke, you know, an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
All right, we're actually coming up on the end of our time. So if people want to get more information, or if they want to get a hold of you and learn more, how can they do so?
Well, they can actually give me a call if they like. My phone number is 860-888-8613. Again, that is 860-888-8613. Or feel free to send me an email at drelle@icloud.com. Again, that is D as in David, R as in Robert, period. E as in Edward, L as in Larry, L as in Larry, E as in Edward, @icloud.com.
That's really good. Well, Dr. Lopkin, I think you'll agree that Dr. Elle has really shed some light. We could go further, but interesting subject, correct, Dr. Lopkin?
Absolutely, and there's so much more that, of course, we just didn't have time to get into. So hopefully we can have the doctor back on again.
Thanks so much for coming on Carnivore Radio.
Oh, I'd be pleased to help you out again, boys. You have an excellent day, and be well to all those that are listening.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Carnivore Radio. You can listen to us live every Friday at 4 at blogtalkradio.com/Carnivore Radio. You can catch the replays as well as the Carnivore Bites podcast at the Apple Podcasts app, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts. It's great having you, and we'll see you next week.